Hello, guys. Hello once again, CSM 100. Okay, so I'm kind of back. So the last time we met, we did some of the mass modification of the subnetting, and I used that as the underlying concept that I use as a hook. So that's like our go-to, if we forget anything, some of the mass modification, subnetting. So you So what we were doing was taking one network IP address and then breaking that network IP address into multiple networks. Two, you know, the, so we have one network of 256, then we broke it up into two networks of 128, and then four networks of block 64, and then eight networks of blocks 32, so on and so forth like that, right? I think we went up to eight networks, 16 networks of 16 each a block of 16. 16 times 16 is 256. So basically, what we were doing is, taking a block of 256 and just breaking them up into smaller chunks. Basically, chunks of 64, chunks of 32, chunks of 128, which is two, right? And and then we were even chunks of blocks of four, like 64 times four. 256, yeah. So we even went there. Well, I don't think we went there, but I think we went up to blocks of 16. So 16 times 16, right? 16 networks. Each network has 16 IP addresses. Two of them are always network and broadcast. So basically, uh, a block of 16 has 14 IP addresses for the host. Okay. So anyway, that's what we did. So today I want to sort of do part two. I want to, because I always do the lecture and I do the theory, get you the knowledge of what we're going to do in the lab, and then we do the lab, right? It's no sense doing the lab if you don't have the knowledge of what you're doing. So that's the approach, right? We'll do the lecture and then we'll do the lab. So the lecture was part one. I'll show you how to do subnetting. And then this is going to be part two, where we actually you know, take what we learned and we put it into practice. That's why we got Packet Tracer here, because Packet Tracer is the program that Cisco uses, so it gets you to practice your networking. Okay, so it's a simulation program, and I want to talk a little bit about it. See how it works. So basically, this is a simulation program, like we said, and it's the sort of an networking educational product that Cisco uses to, right, teach people how to do networking. So let's jump into it. So at the lower left hand side, we have, like the different devices that Cisco uses to put its networking together, its networks together. So I call that little, like the legend, the legend in the lower left hand side. I think I got that word from when I used to be a, computer technician for a big architectural company in my younger years. So, they use for the blueprint, so they have like a little legend, right? So over here, so if I click, like, well, if I glide over the different icons they have here, okay? Let me put it up a little bit like that. Could just, right? Just put it up a little bit so you can see it better. Okay. So anyway, if I glide over, it'll tell me the different devices, like networking devices, end devices. See, it gives it to you in big black letters. Components, and then connections, right? These are the cabling connections. And then, right? I mean, if you click on it like that, routers, right? So it'll show you all the routers in the middle, right? Show you all the routers in the middle, and then if you go to end devices right there, click on end devices, show you all the end devices, PC, laptop, servers, so on and so forth like that. Voice over IP phones, right? Printers, tablets, smartphones, so on and so forth, right? You can see. Like if you click on the different components, MCU boards, okay. And then the connections, right? Let's see, if we go back to the first network device at the bottom, it sort of gives you the individual network devices, routers, switches, hubs, wireless devices, access point, right? An access point, wireless access point, not necessarily a router, just an access point, wireless access point. That's different than an actual wireless router. Okay, just keep that in mind, I guess. Uh, and then the firewall, right? Security firewall. All right, so let's just start. So this is the legend, it's a simulation program, right? So basically, I'm just gonna go and click on my router. I'm gonna glide, a little bit over to the right, and then I'm gonna bring up two 2811 routers. That's the one I usually work for. They're easier to work with. The other ones are more a little advanced type of routers, this and that. Let's just keep it simple. Going back to the legend, and I'll click on the switches, and I'll use the 2960 switches like that, like that. And then I'll click on end devices, which is the PCs with two PCs underneath each switch. I know I'm going a little fast, guys, but you know, going a little fast. All right, so then I have all my devices here, my routers, my switches, right, and my hosts, intermediate devices right here, the routers and the switches. All right, and then I'll uh click on my thunder orange icon. Uh that's for the cabling, right? All the cabling. And I'll just, use the cable. So right here, solid black, right? That's my Ethernet cabling, right? Copper straight through, right? Solid black. So I'll click on that, copper straight through. So you use the copper straight through to connect dissimilar devices that are different. So a PC is different than a switch, right? So that's why we use a certain kind of wire, which is copper straight through. So then I'll glide over to my PC, click on the PC, fast Ethernet, right? And then I will click on the switch itself, and I'll use port 02 and port 03, right? I'll go back to my copper straight through solid black Ethernet cable, glide over to the PC, click on the PC, fast Ethernet. This is uh, the Ethernet network card on inside the PC, okay? Then I glide over to my switch, port 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3 for the PCs right there, see? Now my port 01, I will leave for switch to router connection, okay? Switch to router right here, boom. Okay, and then I'll do 01 to 01. See that? 01 to 01. And then I will come back and do my other side, right? So same thing, solid straight through, black Ethernet cable, right? Straight through cable, glide over to the PC, fast Ethernet, then glide over to the switch, and 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3. Then I'll leave 01 for router to switch to router connection. 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3, ports 2 and 3 for the PCs. And then I'll do switch to router on zeros, both 01 to 01 on both sides, right? Copper straight through the same cable, right? They're using it. Then 01 on the switch side to 01 on the router side. Okay, so just physically connecting my network, right? So now this router to router connection is going to be a long distance high speed. It's going to be like a WAN. So I need a WAN link between these two routers. So basically, let me make a notation. So you just use this little place note, click on that, right? And then just put NYC router right here, okay? You get NYC router. We could just put out router, whatever. And then that would be my LAX router, right? That would be Los Angeles router, right? My Los Angeles router. Okay, then you get your cursor back by go back and clicking this dotted box right here. That's how you get your cursor back. So then you can, you know, accommodate the little writing thing that you did. Okay, good. That's the labeling, right? So, okay, so now I want to use this red router right here, serial. That's the one that's going to make my long distance high speed connection. I need a WAN cable, okay? So before I use a WAN cable, I got to have a serial, sort of a network card for long distance. It's called a serial. And that's going to be happening with that WIC1T right here. Before I do that, let me see if I go like this. If I try to drag it and put it in one of those slots, boom, see? Says you cannot add a module when the power is on. So I have to turn the router off. You see that little on and off switch right there? Got that little green light. Okay, we're going to click it off, right? See, there's no green light now. And then we're going to drag one serial, one interface card. Well, that's what that WIC WIC, right? WIC WAN interface card. That's what it stands for, right? WIC1T. And then we're going to turn on the router again. Boom. And then go to the client and you're going to see the router is booting. See that? The router is booting like that. And then the router is going to ask you if you want the router to do the configuration for you, and you say no, we're going to do it ourselves. Through the teacher is going to tell us how to do it. Okay, so let's go do the other router on the other side, okay? Because we want to make the connection. But anyway, right now, see, uh, it has two building ports. So the ports Fast Ethernet 00 and 01, they're already built into the router, so we don't have to add them. What we added was the serial 020, 030, okay? So, all right. So let's see that on the other side. So we haven't added anything to the LAX router, right? So let's see what that one's with. So you see, the LAX router right now only has the two Ethernet ports that are built into it. So we call those the gateway, you know, because remember the routers are the one that take you out to the internet, right? So the router is the gateway, your way out from your network to other networks on the internet, okay? In this case, we have another network which is one east, one west, right? So let's go to the router right there, second router, router one, right? And then again, we got to turn off, right? That little on and off button, turn it off, and then drag WIC1T right there, right? WIC1T right there. And then we turn the router on, and then we see it booting, right? Now, in the meantime, we go back. You see, before there was no serial. See, now we have a serial, two serial interfaces in there, right? Because we added one in one slot, one in the other slot. So each router has two long distance high speed connect interface card, right? WAN interface card. All right, so let's actually use now that WAN link, right? This is the serial data communication equipment, right? Cabling. So it's a WAN cable. So we'll just go ahead and use the 030 on one side, the 030 on the other side. See? All right. So now, so kind of we have the New York network connected to the to the LAX, to the LA router, right? So East Coast, West Coast, we got East Coast, West Coast connectivity. Okay, so if we want, we could just go take a place note and say there's going to be our network one in New York, right? Network one in New York. We just do it like that. So this is kind of your LAN, New York LAN, local area network, right? And then we have network three in LA, right? And then our middle network, which is our WAN link, that's going to be network two. Our WAN link will be our network two. So let's get your cursor back by going up to that, that squared there. And then you can just, take care of your labels. Okay. So anyway, right? So here we got three networks. Okay. So now we have physical connectivity, but we still don't have logical, the addressing's not there, right? So if you glide over the router, you can see there's nothing there, right? Right now it's just the interfaces, but you see the link, the VLAN, the IP address, nothing's there. But you do have a MAC address, right? So even the routers have a MAC address, believe it. Well, that's the MAC address of those two interface cards. See, 00 and 01, right? These are your gateways. Remember that uh switches have Ethernet, right? So the switches have Ethernet ports, right? Let me see. Why is it? I don't know. The switches have Ethernet ports. You can see them right there, right? So each sort of a, each port is an interface card, right? It's a network interface card. And you see each port has a MAC address. All right. So you can see also, if you look closely, at the very bottom of all these port switches here, you have gigabit ports, right? You have two of them. So you got 24 regular 100 million bits per second ports, and then you have, gigabit ports at the bottom. So at least you have two of them. Now, if we go see let's go see the interface again. So let's just click on the router, any one. Click on this router right here, and then go to the tab at the top, it's physical, right? So you can physically see the router. So let me show you. See, this is where we added, we added our serial right there, right? Serial interfaces. But just want to point out, okay? So I think if you zoom and you look closely, I'll give you a few minutes to look closely at the screen here. You can see that you have two built-in Ethernet ports, but these Ethernet ports, instead of being on the switch, they're on the router. So they're called default gateways, because these are you saw that we threw a line from the switch to the fast Ethernet 00, FA0, right? 01. So that the switch is connected to your router via that port. Remember, the router is the one that's going to send the data to other networks on the internet, or even private networks. Because these big companies have, they're like huge networks too. All right. So anyway, so that's called the default gateway. The FA01. Over here, you only see FE, a fast Ethernet 0/1, right? But the name of it is FA. The software name of it is FA0/1. Okay. I hope you got all of that. Anyway, you know. So this is the physical face of the router, like the faceplate, right? Actually, look at this. I hadn't seen that before. It looks like two additional ports in here. They must have added those cards. I haven't. Anyway, let's ignore that for now. We're just interested in these guys right here for now. This is like an optional slot. All right. Anyway, so get out of there. All right, so we go back to the command line interface. Here, right, we saw the router booting. So now we just say N for no here, right? Because the router wants to step us through, and we're just going to do it ourselves. Let's see, did we do that here already too? Okay. So you go a few more, right? And then you'll see that you end up inside the router, okay? End up inside the router. All right. So So what I want to do now is I want to take a detour because I want to show you something real quick, okay? I want to show you something real quick. Oh, here. Okay. Oh, but I'm trying to go in here. No, it's not working. Okay, it is working now. Okay, so I want to show you something, right? I want to show you something. All right. Uh, so I want to show you there's some router modes. So I have to do this for you because when we're navigating through the router, it's going to be very important. So the router has different levels and we call them modes, right? Different, so you have to learn how to navigate through those modes, the different levels of the router. So we call them router modes, all right? Router modes. So here we start with user mode. See that? User mode. Now, user mode is the name of the router and then a greater than sign. Okay, and then we got privilege mode, the name of the router, and a hashtag. Okay, we used to call them pound sign in the day in my days, but these days I know the modern human beings call them hashtag. So and then okay, and then so basically user mode, privilege mode, then I have configuration mode because I also call it global mode, right? And that's the name of the router, right? You can see that parentheses, the word config, close parentheses, hashtag again. Okay, and then ultimately we I mean there's many, yeah, there's a ton of modes inside the router, right? And you need to learn how to navigate through them. But right now here we're just gonna learn about four modes, right? Four levels of the router, okay? And then maybe in CSM 120 you'll learn some more, you know, a ton of them. Yeah, there's a ton of them really, for different commands, stuff like that. All right. So anyway, when we turn on the router, you end up in user mode. To go to privilege mode, you're going to use the word enable, right? Once you're in privilege mode, to get to configuration mode, and we definitely going to spend a lot of time there, configuring the router with different commands. Okay. To get from privilege mode to global mode, you're going to use the command configure terminal. But we could abbreviate conf t, just to hurry up, and move forward. So yeah, Cisco allows for, all this abbreviation. So configure terminal conf t, okay, it'll take you to global mode right here. You end up in here. And then to get to the interface mode, which is where we're going to add the IP address, you use the command interface, short int is short for interface, and then you give it the name of the interface, which is FA0/1. Okay, that's like the interface on the router, right? That's kind of your gateway out. That's what they call it, the default gateway interface. Okay, once you give it that int and give it the the uh, the interface you want to go into, then you end up in interface mode right here. So you'll get familiar with these modes because they're all kind of different in a way. And then that's where you're going to add the IP address, IP add 192.168, right? And then you see expand a little bit, IP add 192.168.1.1, and then you give it the right, the default gate, I mean the subnet mask, okay? Do that. Okay, so anyway, these are the modes, right? Modes that you need to learn how to navigate through the router. Okay, so having said that, okay, so now minimize my whiteboard, come back to packet tracer. Okay, so don't worry, guys. I know I'm going a little fast, but you can slow down the video in either case. Okay. Anyway, so let's start with router 0, right? Our New York City router. Click on that, right? And then just enter, enter, enter. Hit the enter key on the keyboard, and you end up in user mode. Okay, so from user mode, you could do enable, right? And then you see the hashtag right there, okay? That'll tell you right away that that's your privilege mode. Now from privilege mode to global mode, the configuration mode. See that? Parentheses, the word config, and then hashtag at the outside, right? That's your global prompt, your global configuration prompt. This is where you're gonna pretty much emit all the configuration commands for the router. Here, what we want to do, we want to from here, we want to go inside the interface. Remember INT? So if you hit the tab key, it's going to finish the command for you, okay? So if you hit the tab key up at the top, upper right hand or left hand side, it's going to finish the command for you, okay? But so right, so interface, oh, excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, we went from CompT. So INT, okay, so INT, and then the name of the interface, which is A phase 0/1, right? That's the interface on the router. There's two of them, 00 and 01. All right, so fast Ethernet, that's what the FAE stands for. All right, so go in, right? No errors is good. So that's where you're going to add the IP address, right? IP add, right? And then 192. Now, again, if you hit the tab key, it's going to finish the command for you. Maybe you got to give it at least one more just so it knows. IP address, see? So, okay, go like that. IP add. All right, so then you're going to say 192.168.1. Okay, so for the most part, right? The first IP address uh, is going to be added, it's going to be given to the default gateway. Remember, this is a 1.1.1, right? So then you give it the subnet mask. So just remember, right, that in a Class C subnet mask, there's 256 addresses, right? Minus two. Remember, always minus two because one of them is the network number, right? 1.0, and the last one, the broadcast is that the 255, right? I mean, right? Yeah. 254 next to last, and then 255 broadcast, right? So, and the network number with 0, 192.168.1.0, and the broadcast with 192.168 dot 1.254 next to last, 192.168.1.255. Very last is the broadcast. Okay, whatever. So that's why you couldn't say, over here you couldn't put, you see, you couldn't put 1.0. If you did that, it's going to give you an error. See, it said bad mask. So, because that's the network number. You can't use the network number, right? You have to use the first usable on the block. So you got to go back and change that 0 to to at least to 1, from 1 to 254. Okay. Enter. Okay. So that's good. Now you say no shut, right? No shut means turn on the interface. All right, because I think you heard me say that before anyway. Turn on the interface, right? Turn on the interface. Turn on the interface. So, right? So that means the interface was shut down. It was shut down. Now the interface is no shut. That means you negated the shut, so you turned it on. Okay. All right. So, right. Uh, actually, no, you know what? No, I gotta do something a little different here because um gotta do something a little different. Okay. I mean, I think I did this already with you guys, so and I have to do the subnetting, so I have a feeling I want to turn just redo it again, but it's late, I'm tired, and I don't think I want to do it again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back down a little bit, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase this. Ooh, Lord. So I'm gonna go. I'm inside the interface, so I'm just gonna say no IP add. It just erase everything. No IP add. All right. So anyway, so when I go here and I go to the router, let's see. I highlight. See, it still hasn't done anything. So I'll just and then I'm just gonna do a little something for you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my little note to show you. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is like this. So um. I'm going to remind you guys, okay? I'm going to remind you from the last video. I said, okay, so I want to do uh, like one block of 60. So let's say, let me just say that on network one, so let's just say we're going to do this uh, by the number of machines that I need in each network, just to show you about the subnetting, yeah, because I have to focus on the subnetting because I already did the simple network. So what I want to do is we're gonna have I'm gonna design the network now according to how many machines you need on each network. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do a quickie on you, okay, and then I'm just gonna go and say, okay, so I'm gonna go and say, oh, okay, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do the network for you first. Okay, I'm gonna do the network for you first. Let's see, just gonna open up this baby right here. I need I need to make this pretty big for you so you can see it. Okay. I'm sorry guys. I know it's a little late, but I always do these videos late. Anyway, so here's my network right here. Let me go for it. Let me go for it. Okay, here's my network. Okay. Here's my network right here. I know I'm messing up on these videos, good Lord. Just gonna give you the skinny on it, okay? Here's my network. Okay, here's right, the NYC, LAX, right? Router 0, router 1. Okay. And then so I want this network right here to be 60. Total 60 machines, right? And then this network over here is going to be a total of 30 machines. So here, right, I'm going to need what is the closest block? Right? The closest block that will satisfy having 60 machine. And what is the subnet mask? I need a subnet mask that will accommodate 60 machine. I need a subnet mask here that will accommodate, right, 30 machines. So we're going to work with this number right here, okay? The class C. And then we're going to subnet that class C, right? So that's the network number /24. You already know what that means. 255.255.255. That's 0. Okay, so here it's gonna be 192. Now 192, I'm going fast. 168.1.0. So I'm gonna start, right? And then that's gonna that's gonna be /26. This one's gonna be, so this is network one, this is network three. Okay, this is 192. So the same, I'm just gonna break that number up so I can have a block of 64 here, and I'll break this network up so I can have a block of 32. So a block of 64 is the closest one, right? So it's enough for 60 machines, and then I have network number broadcast, which is two more, which is good, right? And this one is 30. It'll fit perfectly in a block of 32, right? It'll have 30 machines, and then network number broadcast will be exactly 32 numbers. So 192.168. That okay, this is the same network as one, right? but it's going to okay, so so let's just say right here, right? Danny, show me my four networks here. But I'm only going to need one block of 64 out of the four, right? So I'll have 0, 64. Remember, that's a slash 192, right? If I write it down, it'll be 255, 255, 255 dot 192. Just to remind you, you know? And then this is 128. It's only four, right? So don't think this one here. And this is going to be 192. Okay, and this is going to be 1 to 63. And, 62 will be the next to last. And then you have whatever. Okay. I could do it I could do it a little bit lower. Messing up. So that'll be 1. That'll be 62 next to last. And this would be 63. Okay, this one's going to be 65. And then 126 next to last. 127 broadcast. In either case, guys, I only need one of these networks. So I'm going to pick the one that starts at 0, this one. That's why this is 1.0 right here. Okay, that's the network. And then from there, I'm just going to have this block right here, okay? Just that one block right here, network 1, right? Network 1 is going to occupy, right, this guy right there, okay? Now, see, so the next network starts at 64, so I'm going to start here, next network, right? Network 3 is only going to be a block of 32, though. So let me look at my blocks of 32. So my blocks of 32 subnet mask is what? My block of 32 subnet mask will be, let's see, 255, that 255, that 255, and then that's 224, right? The block of 32. All right. So if you say, Danny, show me, what is that? 3 bits, three on, 5 off. So, blocks of 32, right? That'll be 2 to the 3 is 8. So it'll be 8 networks. Okay. I don't feel like drawing all 8 networks. So you get the idea, right? So I'm going to have 0, 32, 64. These are blocks of 32. Let's see, 31, 30, 30 is, right? Starting at 1. Already used up this, right? On this guy already, and used up this. So this one is all used, so I can't, they're already network 1 has these guys, right? So I can't really use them because they're already taken up, right? 62, 63, next, broadcast. So they're used up already. So I can't mess around with these guys. Okay? This is the one that's available, and it starts in you see 96. So it's blocks of 32 from here. Well, obviously it's blocks of 30. These are all 8 networks, right? 96, whatever. It's 97. This is 65, 95 broadcast, 94. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So by the time you know it, the last network will be what? 224, right? 224. But right now, we just need one 64 to whatever, right? That one to 96. So 96 is where the next network starts. But this one is 64, right? To 95 broadcast. All right, a block of 32. So this guy, right? So I could say this guy's a slash 27 starting at 64. See what I'm saying? Like that, blocks. That's why, we want to see that. We want to see that, right? Let me. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Didn't catch everything. Why not? I don't know. Okay, I could expand it that way then. Oh my God, this stylus thing is just a killer, man. Good freaking Lord. Okay, forget about it. You understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So, um, okay. So you see, this is what I wanted to show you, right? So, so a block of 64, a slash 26, and then a block of 32 slash 27. Okay. So let me put it all together for you though. So let's say I'm gonna put all three networks. Well, I haven't done the top one, so let me do this one. This is gonna be a point to point, so I need only a block of four. Okay. So let's see. So after 96, right? After the block of 32, right? It's going to be the next network. Okay, so the next network. All right, let me clean up, guys. Sorry about that. Let me clean up. I don't want to drive you nuts. Let me clean up. Boom. Okay, so the next everything's crooked. Okay, so the next network, right? The next network, this network is 97. Let's see, 96 to and another 32. What is that? And 128. So that's where we're gonna be. Another 32, right? 128. Okay. So this one's gonna be 127 broadcast, 126 next to last. Okay. So oh, wait a minute. Ooh, no, no, I don't want another block of 32. I want so I want a block of four. So block of four would be the next network starts at 100. Okay, so it'll be 98, 99. Okay, no, excuse me. 90. Oh yeah, okay. All right. So this is the network I'm looking for. Sorry about that, guys. So my block of 32 was from 64 right here to 96, right? So the next network starts at 96. So I'm going to use that for this network right here in the middle, my WAN, okay? My network 2. My network 2 is my network 1, network 2, network 3. Network 2 is my, so here I'm going to need 97, 98, and 99 is my broadcast on that network, okay? So, all right. So see, I'll show you a little bit better. I'm just, you know, figuring out where my next network is. So my network 1 right here, which is this one right here, my block of 64, right, is going to be a block of 64 starting from 0. See that? From network 0. And then from 1, right, from 1 to 63, right, that's 62 is next to last, right? This is where I put everything together, guys. And then my network, this is my network 1, right? My network 3, right here. This is gonna be my block, my block of 32, starting at 64. Okay, 65. So the next one is at 96, right? Because it's 32, right? So the next one, so this won't be 95 broadcast, 94 next to last, and right? So a block of 32 right here. Since I only need a point to point, right? A point to point, one IP address here, one IP address there, and then network number and broadcast, right? So basically, that's going to be my network 96. So it's going to be 97 on one side. So this is going to be dot 97 right here, right? So it's going to be 192.168.1.97 on that side. And then 98 is going to be the other side, okay? And then the broadcast. So you see there's 4 IP addresses, 96, 97, 98, 99. That's all we need, point to point, okay? This network interface gets the 9.98, okay? All right, so those three, this is network two. I know network two ends up at being the last one, but don't let that throw you off, guys. You know, it's not an order, but it is what it is, you know. I could put it in order, but either way, the numbers got to be right, okay? I'm just putting the numbers in sequence so you can see it better. All right? So, um, that will be using subnetting, you know. This is how you break up the network, but you saw how subtle and so meticulous that you got to be, okay, in order to get this thing right. Otherwise, you can easily screw it up. So that's why they pay you the big money because, but you're gonna take that CCNA class. You're gonna get really good at designing IPv4 networks, right? By the time you know IPv6, the next the next internet numbers are gonna come up. But don't worry about that. It's still, you know, 20, 30 years away already. So anyway, so you see, this is where we put everything together here, all the network. And remember that every network has to have unique numbers. You can't have the same numbers on different networks. As you can see, they all have to be unique IP addresses. So no two networks are going to have the same IP addresses. Okay? You have to distribute them accordingly, okay, without repeating the same numbers. Otherwise, you have an error. Okay? You can't have the same numbers on different networks. They're not isolated like that. Try another. Let's try a second. Let's see. Yeah. Did I do that right? No, this thing is still screw up. Oh heck, I ain't gonna try that again. What the hell was that about again? I'm messing up. Okay. I think I could do it like, but yeah, I could take it out. Immediate. All right. I think I'm probably, let me see if I could clean up and then make it right. All right, so I think let me see if I messed it up completely. Uh, no, not that bad, really. That bad. Okay, so probably bring it up back here. Okay. Anyway, so all right, so this is where, what is this? This is block of 32 right here, guys. So that's where I did the blocks of 32. And then over here, I caught myself that, oh, there's a block of 4, I can't, you know. So let's see. So yeah, this is where I was detailing, blocks of 32 slash 20. This is a slash 27 right there. All these networks, right? So there was 8 of them. That's what it was. 8 of them, but I didn't feel like making all 8. So I said at the end, you're gonna have, 224, and that's gonna be 225, 225, right? And then that'll be the last one. So it'll be 8 networks of blocks of 32. So it'll be 0, then 32, then 64, then 128. Then you have whatever, right? 196, then 128, and 192, then 224. I skipped a couple, about 3 of them anyway. No big deal, right? No big deal. All right. And then this is where I put, this is a block of 64 right here, block of 64, then blocks of 30, then blocks of 32, and then for point to point, um, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, blocks of 4 right there. It's a block of 4 network too. Okay, let me stop screwing around before I mess up again. Okay, so anyway, guys, so let's leave it that way. Okay, so what I want to do is, okay, the way I wanted to do it was that, okay, back to my packet tracer. Okay, boom, like that. All right, so let's see. So here, this is a block. So I'm going to go to this router. Let me get my cursor back. So I'll go to this router, okay? And I'm going to go in there, blocks of 64, okay? Enable, right? And then conf T, and then go inside the interface, FA0/1, right? On the router. And then I'm going to go IP add, right? And I'm going to start this guy 192.168.1.1, you see? And then it's going to be a slash, I mean, a slash 26. So I have to give it the block of 64 subnet mask, right? Otherwise, it won't work. So 255, 255, 255, and then at the end, it's going to be 192. So it knows that, hey, I'm only going to go 64 numbers starting from 0, 1 to 63. See that? 63 being the broadcast. So that's what I'm telling the router to do pretty much. The block is 64 starting at 0, okay? Obviously, this interface, the default gateway, the Ethernet port on the router, the one that takes you out to the internet, that's where your switch is connected, has to have an IP address, and it's going to have the first one in the block of 64, if that makes any sense. No shut, right? Turn it on. And then save it. DO copy run start, you know? Sorry for the, start and go, a little bit, because just want to get it right, Anyway, yeah, because the first time I did the simple network, I wasn't going to do it again. You know what? No. Okay, okay, I saved it, right? So you can see that this interface is on. See the green? I think when we did the simple network, if you remember, everything is green, it's good, right? Now let's do the next network. That's going to be a block of 32, okay? Um, a block of 32. So, right? Enable, conf T, right? And then let me go inside the interface again. This is network 3, block of 64, right? I mean block of 32, excuse me. All right, so here, oh, excuse me, it's network 3, but we're subnetting this time, so okay. We're using the same IP address and just breaking that IP address to different blocks using the subnet mask. All right, so here we're gonna go IP add, right? 192.168, right? And this one dot one dot we're gonna start at six. This is network 64 because I already used the first 64 network one. So I start the next network number is 64. The broadcast for network one was 63, right? So this network says 64. So how am I going to tell the router that? Through the subnet mask, right? I have to be a subnet mask expert. So this is going to be dot 224, right? Because I'm telling the router start as the the network is 64, right? Starting number 192.168.1.64. Okay, that's the network number 64. But the first usable on that network is 65, right? So I'm telling the router starting from 64, okay, count 32. Okay, so 34, 30, 35, 36, right? All the way up to what was that? 95. Right. So that's the broadcast for this network, 95. Okay, so so that's the instructions I'm giving the router. And fine, no, right? No shut, turn it on, right? And then save it. Boom, 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 right? And boom, see that? So Cisco, if you did it right, Cisco's going to turn your subnet masks into slash notation. So let's go, on this side right there, right? See, it says it assigned 0, 1, 192.168.1.1/26. So that's the correct subnet mask block of 64. Then here on this network, it's got to be a block of 32. right, starting at 64, first number is 65 on that network, right? Count 32, starting at 64, right? That's what I'm telling the router to do, right? And that's way it could keep its act together. Now, the point to point is only a block. I only need four numbers in there, one on each side, and then network number broadcast, okay? So that's actually a slash 30, and the routers will know that. All right, so let's go. I mean, I'm telling it, I'm gonna instruct the router to do a slash 34 numbers starting from 96. Okay, so let's see. Okay, 030. I'm gonna go in there. So I'm gonna change the interface is no longer the default gateway is the outside interface, the high speed serials. So I'm gonna say exit one up, and then I'm gonna do the interface again, but this time it's gonna be go inside the serial S0 slash what is it? 3/0. Okay, and then I'm gonna IP add the heck out of it. But in this case, I'm gonna tell it to start because I already used up to what was it, 95? So this network is 96. So the first number on 96 is 97. Okay, and then the subnet mask, just so it knows it's only a block of four, is going to be 252. Okay, so if you count this, let's see, there's there's 6 bits on and 2 bits off. The 00 is for the number of IP addresses, and the 6 bits on at the end are going to be 64. 2 to the 60, 2 to the 6 is 64. It's 64 network. Each is a block of four. So 4 times 64 is 256, right? So no shut, right? Turn it on. Remember, on a point to point, has to be both sides no shut before it turns green. And then DO copy run start. Okay, so I go to the other side. I go to the other side, and then I have to go exit up and then go back, but go inside the serial interface instead, that's why I made it like that across so I don't have to screw around too much. Right, so I'm just using my up and down arrows because everything's in the buffer, not everything, but okay, so the other side one side was 97, the other side is 98, right? And then boop. So 252 right there. See, I'm telling the router, take a block of four and start counting at 96. 96, is the network number itself, so it's 96, 97, 98, 99, right? Broadcast 99, so it's four numbers, right? Counting 96 itself, because that's network 96. Okay. See that 252, 6 bits on for networking and 2 zeros for host. Think about it that way, right? So I did that. I did that in the last subnetting video. I didn't do the 252 for the subnetting video, but I'm doing it now because I need to do it. Okay, enter. And then no shut. So see, now it's going to turn green. Let me show you. See, it's going to turn green the middle, right? Because it's no shut on both sides. No shut, right? Boom, boom. See, turn green. The triangles turn green. And save it. All right, so we're done pretty much for this network. See that? So if you just glide over the router just to check in the results, see on the serial 030, you see that it has a /30. See that? Point to point. And that's what is that? Router 0, the router on the left. If we go to router 1, the router on the right, okay, and we do the same thing, we see that that same, that serial interface on the second router one, and then that's a 98. You see that? /30. See? So you got so the LAN itself is a block of 32, and the point to point is a block of 4. See that? /27 /30. So that's that's going to be pretty good for you guys to learn the subnetting. And then this is like a little subnetting. I apologize for the little start and go. Sometimes it just it's kind of late. I get to do sometimes these videos kind of late. Good Lord. Then my daughter interrupted me. I freaked out. Brrr. Okay, but I just want to get it done because I gotta upload them, and then Edwin has to do its thing. So the lecture teacher has to, he'll do some of the other stuff, like asking you questions and making sense out of all this crazy stuff. All right. So, all right, guys. So thank you so much for being patient, and I appreciate, all your effort, your motivation, and your perseverance. God bless you. Good luck with everything. Okay, now I'm just going to stop it, and hopefully it recorded everything. Good Lord.